This is a quick video on how to connect to Mongo. I'm going to go over the code first. As you can see here, these first three lines are simply loading the packages that are needed. This is just the Express framework because I wanted to show this with a connection to the web. And this other part, simply, you can think of it as the driver to connect to Mongo. I then have the connection string. Note that I am placing the credentials, and these are not the real ones. I've changed them just because I'll put this online. And that's followed by the host name, then the port, and then the database that you're connecting to. I created a new database on the server, the Mongo server called the mentors, and I can show you that real quick. As you can see here, it's down here at the bottom. So let me go back to Sublime. Now what comes next is simply making that connection. If this works, we'll see something at the command line that says connected correctly. And after that, I've simply specified 3 routes for that server. The first one, I'm going to hit simply to see that the server's up and running. The second one actually writes to the database. I create a dummy user here, and then this part actually writes to the database. And the last one simply reads the information that is in that database, as you can see here. And so that's pretty much it. This last part, line 42, is simply instantiating a listener. So I'm going to go ahead and move. Let me show you first the file system. When you get this, you'll simply have, if you unzip the file, you'll have 2 files. One of them has the code that I just showed you. The other one is the definition, as you can see here, of the application. You can ignore it. All you need to know is that if you run npm install, which is part of Node, if you install Node, you already have everything you need. It will download and install the packages. So if I enter npm, let me go ahead and make this bigger. If I enter npm install, you'll see that those packages are being downloaded. And you can see there that they've been installed. And if we go back to the file system, you'll see that a pile of them have been brought back. Now at this point, I can go ahead and run this application. And I'll enter here node and just simply the name of my server. And when I hit return, you'll see that it's connected. It says connected correctly to the server. If I go to the browser, I should be able to enter localhost and the path, and this will be the default, and we should be able to see hello world, as you can see there. Let me go ahead and make that bigger. And that corresponds to this path here, the one on line 15. I'm now going to write some information to the database. Hopefully that'll work, and I'll just hit the path, create Mongo. So let me go ahead and do that here. Create Mongo. And when I hit return, yes, that did write that dummy user that I created to the database. And if I do the opposite, meaning reading that back, I should be able to read it. Well, let me go ahead and before I do that, let me go ahead and create yet another user. I'll create 3. And I'll read the contents of that table back. And you can see that I am getting all of those back. Now, if we go to Chef, and let me go ahead and refresh all, and you can see here, where'd it go, the mentors. We have it now a table called customers, which I defined, and I open up the collection view. You can see here that all of that information that I just wrote is now available within the database. Now let me go back here. You of course don't have to instantiate a web server. I just simply did it because it's easy. You could skip all of this and simply do the writes and reads that you need in any other operations. I'm going to point you as well to some Python code that does the same thing. All you have to do is change that path, and that one is using Flask, but as I mentioned, this is mostly to illustrate how do you connect, how do you write, and what the connection string needs to be. So that's it for this. Bye.